Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bad Moon's Orbit. I am, as always, your Free Guild Marshal, Dalton Montgomery.
And I'm Darian Smart, the last Arbiter.
Oh, I hear those are in hot supply.
Yeah, you're telling me.
But we are back with, finally, the episode that we have been teasing for a hot minute now. This one took a while for the notes to write because there's a lot.
A lot of it.
It's a lot. Cities of Sigmar, the first of probably 3 episodes is what you're listening to now. You'll see a number on the episode when it goes. If you're listening to this, you see the number on the episode list. There's so much info about the Cities of Sigmar. They are one of our point of view factions, one of the big this is the normal person faction, so to speak. And so by the virtue of that, there's just a lot that goes on in the cities. There's a lot centered around the cities. We are not going to have time to touch on all of it.
No.
But I am super happy to finally talk about them because I think they're a super neat way to adapt the idea of what does normal life look like for someone in a setting is weird and sometimes it's hostile as Age of Sigmar can be.
This is something I've been actively wondering.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to do an uncommon thing that we don't do often on the podcast, and I'm going to direct our listeners to a secondary source as well.
Oh.
As much as I'm excited to give you the rundown from our perspective on the Cities of Sigmar, if you are a fan of what you hear today and you want to delve deeper into the crazy stuff that can happen in cities and whatnot, one of the moderators that runs the Age of Sigmar lore subreddit goes by the moniker Sage King, and they have
great name.
An excellent collection of they've done multiple threads on down into the finery of things what kind of technology do we see in the different cities? What kind of down to they had a fascinating thread on the different kinds of street lighting we see across different cities where we have people cultivating bioluminescent trees in some cities, or gas lamps, or all sorts of crazy stuff like that. Like I said, I could never go into anywhere near as much detail as they have, and so I'm gonna, if you want the real nitty gritty, they're also, I know, one of the people who contributes to and maintains the Lexicanium, which is one of the Age of Sigmar wikis.
Oh.
All that is phenomenal. But we are mostly going to be sticking to information we can get from primary source. We're working off of a 3rd edition battle tome here, which is the most recent one, with some stuff sprinkled in from 2nd edition battle tome for stuff that's changed a little bit, like the Phoenicium. Well, my intent is that this episode is going to be a bird's eye view of cities, the broad culture, the purpose, how they operate in the world. Episode 2 will be our going down the list of individual cities in the same way that we went through the nations of Hysh in our 2nd episode for Lumineth, except that there's just more important cities in the Cities of Sigmar, and each of them has more things to talk about. And then our 3rd episode will just be wholly dedicated to our famous faces, because again, there's a lot of them.
Nice.
And they're neat. We could do a whole episode, and honestly, we might. I haven't decided yet. We could do a whole episode on just Callus and Toll.
Okay.
They've been the protagonists of 6 books.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. But in the meantime, let's talk about the Cities of Sigmar.
Hell yeah.
So,
Oh, actually,
jumped the gun. Game stuff. Darian,
stuff.
do you have a game thing you'd like to talk about?
I got a tattoo.
Ooh, yeah, you did.
This is that sounded like I was revealing it to Dalton. Dalton's well aware. Dalton was being texted while this was happening. This was not a surprise. But it is relevant to the prompt of game stuff because it's a tattoo from an actual play podcast. So it counts.
Yeah.
It is from the Adventure Zone Balance campaign. It's a quote, "You're going to sing."
Yeah.
It is not just my favorite podcast or actual play pod. It is my favorite story of all time.
Yes.
And it means so much to me. I just adore every part of it, even the messy, weird parts at the beginning. And I've talked about my love for Taz before, and I will again, because the final volume of the graphic novel is coming out. So get ready. You're going to hear me talk about it. It'll probably be fall time for you, but I'm getting ready to talk about it in summer when the next one comes out. But it's so great. And the premise, the plot surrounding the appearance of this quote when it comes back later, and just the idea of your limitless potential, don't, especially right before some of the hardest emotional things characters are about to go through, to have a goddess tell them you amazing.
Yeah.
Just that reminder will just keep you're gonna get there and it's gonna be amazing. And the version of the quote I got is as the quote appears in the graphic novel adaptation. But the word amazing is outlined in white and has rainbow gradient because color. It took me a really long time to get this tattoo because I didn't know how to get the quote to look like the way it makes me feel. So the graphic novel version helped, and adding the color it's actively healing still, so right now it looks gnarly as hell. But by the time this episode comes out, it should be well healed, so I'll share a post about it if you want to see my cool tattoo on my arm. It's also it's not my first tattoo, I've had several, but it's the only one I can actively see, and that's crazy, because I just forget I have other tattoos, because they're like on my ankle, on my shoulder, I don't see them, but like this one is visible at all times.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know, y'all got any cool D&D game-related tattoos?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the tattoo artist I went to see has also done Warhammer art.
Oh, cool.
And that was pretty cool, and I was like, oh, it's meant to be! I laughed because I'd already told him about my other podcast, and I'm like, oh, also, I do a Warhammer podcast. Don't tell me anything about it. I'm not allowed to learn. You'll ruin the podcast if you teach me anything at all. But, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Tattoos are great. If y'all got any cool ones you want to share, feel free to hit us up. I love tattoos and art.
Always a fan of seeing them. I think I'll shout out, this has been a couple of weeks ago now, but we did a one session of Dungeon World Second Edition. That was very fun. I'm a huge fan of the original Dungeon World. I like what they've done with it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that immensely.
The original Dungeon World was an excellent adaptation of kind of the traditional sword and sorcery dungeon crawl into Powered by the Apocalypse style mechanics. The second is continuing that legacy with some interesting twists. I liked it quite a bit. Hoping to play more.
Yeah, hopefully we can get back together. Times when you have adults who are in their 30s.
Yes.
Scheduling.
Hard to come by.
Is the true enemy. The true villain of every tabletop campaign is scheduling.
But let's talk about the Cities of Sigmar.
Yes, let's.
Like I said, Cities of Sigmar is more or less our normal person faction. And so that...
You're just a guy.
Yeah, you're just a guy. That is the role that they exist within, both in terms of narrative, but also gameplay purpose. In a game where when you are going to pick out models at the store and paint them up and put them on the board, you have all your options for soul-stealing sea elves and big immortal Stormcast or crazy chaos warriors or whatever. But this is the one for if I find a lot of value narratively in the idea of normal people working together can meet the level of extraordinary people.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to be a perfect person or even an extraordinary person to do extraordinary things, as long as you're willing to cooperate and work alongside other people. And that's what Cities represents.
Yeah.
And I think that's neat. I'm a big fan of what Cities is doing. But what does that look like in this context? So the Cities of Sigmar, as opposed to just cities more broadly or settlements more broadly, Cities of Sigmar is the official term for when a city is part of Sigmar's kind of grand campaign to reclaim the realms. Okay. Right? Cities of Sigmar represent the ultimate victory of the forces of order over the paradigm that the Age of Chaos created.
Okay.
Right? This will no longer be a lawless wasteland. This will no longer be a place where people have to fear for their lives from constant exterior threat. We have created a bastion of safety in the middle of this storm, and we will fight to protect it. That is what each city represents. So in contrast to something thinking about the old world, where your normal people were the Empire of Man, which Sigmar was the patron deity of in the old world, the Empire had territory and borders, and bad stuff could happen, but it held ground, and there'd be roads within it, and all that was considered part of the empire. It was much more of kind of a traditional nation state. Because the state of the world in Age of Sigmar is what it is, that is a lot less fixed. That's a lot harder to do. So instead, what we tend to see is that Cities of Sigmar themselves tend to form as almost these mega city states. It's less like you'd have this one city and then it's got all of its like periphery cities and stuff, and you start to form what we would traditionally think of as country with like borders, and more just like this is Hammerhall Aksha, and 10 million people live here.
Okay,
and every time like we need to, and like as the city grows, we just like keep the old walls of the city and then we build new ones like further out, right? So, and that lets it be, that means that cities in Cities of Sigmar tend to be these like vast, sprawling, like megapolises, which makes it complicated for a lot of reasons when we talk about what those cities contain, if that makes sense, or like even what the like identity of the city is, because
it's just a lot going on.
Yes,
it'd be like trying to do here's the identity of New York City.
Yes,
never mind all the boroughs that are there.
Yeah, exactly, and you see that within the larger cities. Hammerhall Aksha is the largest city in the setting, just period. And so even from one side of Hammerhall Aksha to the other, the like while the government might be the same and the like individual like policies and like a broad culture of the city might be similar, the individual like traditions and whatnot, especially once you get into the level of like, because cities this big, it's not like these cities have reached this size solely off of like the occupants like having kids and like that kind of thing. The goal of the founding of the Cities of Sigmar and the defense of the Cities of Sigmar is to create these safe spaces in this hostile world. And so humans from all across Akshi, dwarves, elves, like anyone who wants to be a part of that like legacy building is going to end up in Hammerhall Aksha, and so you and all the other like major cities of Sigmar, and so you're going to get this like kind of crazy melting pot of culture in each of these cities and how that like interacts with each other. So the big thing, the I guess the bullet point for like what is the City of Sigmar is it's huge, it's diverse, and it's often like in conflict with itself to some point. Like you're never going to get that many people in one place and not have like butting heads, right? Like everyone is on the same page on the level of like, we're here to create like a bulwark against chaos, where or not even necessarily to create a bulwark, but because like this is the safest place to like be with my family. Like for a lot of the other factions we talked about, there is that kind of inherent militarism to them. Like Stormcast exist to fight chaos. Right. Like Ideneth have structured their whole society around having to do soul raids to like keep themselves like sustained. Lumineth have restructured their society in part because of that idea of like fighting chaos. Cities, especially, like just like in real life, there's a lot of people for whom living in a city is not a matter of like, oh, I'm part of a grand tradition of reclaiming the realms and I'm going to go like fight chaos marauders and stuff. It's, oh, thank God, like I can be a carpenter. And just like live out my relatively normal life, right? Like that.
Just be a guy.
And that is like and ultimately I think that's important because that's the future that cities broadly and like Sigmar broadly are fighting for.
They just want everyone to be able to have like a chill, normal existence where they can just do the things they want to do and not have to survive.
That's the thing that Sigmar ultimately represents. That's the thing that cities ultimately represent. That's the thing that Stormcast ultimately represent, right? Like that's Gardas again, right? Where he would love to stop having to be a soldier and go back to being a doctor, but currently that is not what the world calls for. And so those are the cities. Each one is huge. Each city is, well, we'll get into like founding and stuff because it's a little bit weird. So cities are not founded. It's not as natural a process as we often get in the real world. Right. So like in real life, right, cities tend to happen either just through like inertia, like people tend to congregate in a place because it's valuable to be in that place or it's useful to be in that
other
place.
People are there, so might as well stay there.
Most cities, like especially a lot of ancient cities, literally just form like around a crossroad between two other places because it's nice where more people are going to be to have somewhere for them to rest and get something to drink. But our earliest cities, like as a civilization, as humanity, are built on like natural resources, right? This is the Nile River. This is the Tigris and Euphrates. Like this is why basically every large city in the world has a river running through it.
We live on by a big, well, big, but like a river. It's like it's on a river.
And especially as like the world moved forward, we started looking not even just the water, but like arable land and like natural resources and stuff. My hometown is built around a mercury mine.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, hasn't operated for quite a while now. So all those like kind of natural incentive, all those natural factors that can lead to a city being founded in the real world aren't so much the consideration here. Like obviously if you're going to have a long-term settlement, you want those things to be present. Like there are rivers running through most of the cities that we're going to talk about, and they have other abundant natural resources nearby. Some of them are founded specifically because there's like realm stones in that area. But the two kind of like big things that a city is usually founded around are pointing towards the like grander goal.
Okay.
So the first string of cities that were founded post Age of Chaos, coming out of the Age of Sigmar. Also, that's another thing I should mention. All the cities we're talking about were founded during the Age of Sigmar.
Yes.
Because the Age of Chaos destroyed like anything. Like none of these would have been able to exist during the Age of Chaos. They would have just been under constant assault by like chaos forces. And so the first that were founded during the Age of Sigmar.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
I think I asked this before. I don't know. When the game came out and you're like, everyone come play this new game.
Yeah.
Did it just open in the Age of Sigmar?
Yes.
Okay, so all the things we've talked about, that was all just like, here's lore from the past.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought, but and forgive me if I've asked this before.
No, you're good.
But I was like, just to clarify.
Yes.
Because the game is called Age of Sigmar.
Yes.
And that's because we're picking up in the Age of Sigmar.
Yes.
Awesome thing.
And some of that wasn't even clear when the game initially came out. Like, I don't think we had a hard number for how long the Age of Chaos lasted. We didn't know, like, a lot of that was fleshed out as the setting went on as well.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah. But yeah, so the first of what would become like the Cities of Sigmar were founded around realm gates.
That makes sense. Yeah, transportation.
Yeah, specifically they were founded around realm gates to Azir. Right.
That makes sense. You want to make sure that you have access to HQ real easy.
Yes. So those would become the like gates through which supplies and troops and settlers, all things that you need to continue this project, would come in from Azir and from there like spread out. So the first cities, we're not going to go into detail with them because that's hypothetically the next episode. So the first cities that were founded are colloquially known as the Seeds of Life because they were,
I like that.
Yeah. All three were founded on Ghyran because Sigmar identified immediately that liberating Ghyran was like top priority.
Good. Smart.
Yes. And they are the Living City, the Phoenicium, and Greywater Fastness.
How did Alario this?
She was still in her soul pod when this happened.
She was not given input at this bit. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We know that the Living City has her blessing. It's like a collaboration between Alariel and Sigmar.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure if because the Living City was one of the first ones founded, so it was definitely founded before Alariel woke up. But her decision later to bless it is probably like an act of goodwill between her and Sigmar. The Phoenicium is probably more complicated. It's like an elven city, and we don't get like a great understanding of how she felt around the Phoenicium. It's like a super weird one. We'll talk about it next episode.
Okay.
Greywater Fastness. She definitely doesn't like Greywater Fastness, and we'll talk about that one for a reason as well.
Oh, okay.
So we have like the string of like she blesses the Living City. She's probably largely ambivalent around the Phoenicium because it was just kind of like uninhabitable before it became a city. So it's like
no one was using this space.
Yeah, they're not like strip mining or like logging to make this city. It's just like kind of carved into the Phoenicium was carved into like amber. There's like a big like amber landslide that the Phoenicium got carved out of. So it's like nothing was living there before. So and Greywater Fastness is a heavy industry town.
Oh, what a bad place to put a heavy industry town.
Correct. We'll talk more about it in the next episode, but I will give the bit with Greywater Fastness is in the minds of the people of Greywater Fastness. They're like, excellent. We can do heavy industry faster and like more dangerously here in Ghyran because the realm itself will like heal the damage being done to it. Oh
no.
Yes. And that's like I said, it's complicated. So, but yeah, we'll talk about it next episode. It's an interesting split. Like it would have been easy for them to be like, here's the cities from Ghyran. They're all vaguely like Ghyran stuff. But instead they were like, no, it's a diverse, because anyone who would want to be part of the Living City. They're just going to go and live in the Living City. Yeah. We don't need 3 living cities.
That's interesting storytelling.
Yeah. Soon after the Seeds of Life, we got Hammerhal, not Hammerhall.
Hammer
It's
Hal.
important. I've been saying it wrong for a while.
Oh no!
Hammerhal Gyra was founded on the Gyran side of what was originally called the Storm Rift Gate, is now generally just called the Hammerhal Gate or Hammerhal Gate. Gyra was founded on one side and very quickly spilled through the gate to Akshi.
That's cool.
Where a second city was founded. Hammerhal is now known as the Twin Cities.
I like that. That's really neat.
Yeah, or the Twin-Tailed Cities.
Okay.
Because Twin-Tailed Comet is the bit with kind of a classic, like, real human thing where, like, even though Gyra was the first one, Aksha, without the, like, tradition of, like, without the, like, original infrastructure and stuff holding it back, Aksha became much bigger, much faster.
Yeah.
So that's what led to Hammerhal Aksha being the larger of the two Hammerhals.
Nice.
Kind of unofficially, like, the capital of the Cities of Sigmar, just by virtue of being the biggest city.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Following Hammerhal Aksha, there was a real quick expansion into other parts of Akshi. We got Tempest Eye, Hallowheart, and Anvilgard. Whoops. This is my formal acknowledgement of, I think we put in the notes of the last episode, or the episode after that originally came out. So Anvilgard is the city that Marathi, like, took control of to do her big ritual. In that episode, I said it was in Ulgu, like, the whole episode.
Oh no!
Which was just a mistake on my part. Like, I completely failed to check that in my brain. Ulgu is Marathi stuff. No, Anvilgard's on Akshi. It's the whole thing.
Oh shit! She did it on Akshi?
Yes.
That crazy bitch. I love her.
But yeah, and so we get a very quick solidification of the twin tales of, like, the founding of the Cities of Sigmar. The tale in Gyran and the tale in Akshi.
Nice.
Right? Where these will be the roots that lead to kind of the ultimate project that we're going to see with cities and their strategy for doing stuff, where by creating these, like, pinpoints of light in the darkness, these, like, safe places in these otherwise hostile world, we open the door for people to build normal lives, and from that have the, like, capacity to branch out further, to venture from Hammerhal or Tempest Eye or any of these other places and find other places in the world that they can make safe, that they can draw people to them and, like, expand this kind of bubble almost of, like, safety in the world, which is neat.
Yeah.
So that's the initial, like, that is all stuff that happened in the very quick, like, aided by Stormcast. This was all very early into the Age of Sigmar. Like, these are cities that are popping up rapidly as this is where, like, all of the focus is, like, at the jump.
Nice.
Like, the armies at this point are largely Azerian born, because they're the ones who have been, like, in Azir, not under threat from chaos, where they can train and have, like, the capacity and the, like, resources to do that. This is the Stormcast, like, main focus right now is getting these cities founded and, like, supported. And then once we get the initial, like, the Seeds of Life and the expansion into Akshi. Oh, the other thing, sorry, Realm Gates. And then the other thing that Cities of Sigmar are often founded on are geomantic nexus points.
What a fun term. Geomantic nexus. That's some fantasy ass bullshit. I love it.
A geomantic nexus point is where, like, ley lines converge, basically. It's a center for magic. And so by building cities on top of them, you control them, you make it hard for chaos to pollute them and, like, do bad chaos stuff, mainly. So we'll see a mixture of, like, cities on both of those, basically. Like, it's always a case of you want to found a city where it is doing something to accomplish the larger goal of, like, reclaiming the realms, right?
Yeah.
Denying chaos access to things that they would otherwise want.
Nice.
Cutting off their transportation, cutting off their access to, like, raw magic. Once we start seeing these cities founded, another thing that happens within those cities is once Stormcasts die, they return to Azir, and many Stormcasts, like, live permanently on Azir so that they can be quickly, like, deployed, tossed from the heavens by Sigmar's own hand, right? It's important for the defense of these larger cities that they also have, like, Stormcast on hand to protect them. So any city, like, the thing that marks a City of Sigmar going from just like a settlement or like a town or a village, the thing that makes it a City of Sigmar is the building of what is known as a storm keep.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Storm keeps are exactly what they sound like. They are fortresses from which stormcast can operate out of, like a city from. So that when, like, if a city is attacked by chaos, you are not waiting for, like, stormcast to be deployed from Azir. They just are there, and they can help with defense, they can help with infrastructure, they can help with planning. Sometimes they even get involved in, like, the day-to-day of the city's politic. One of the people we'll talk about in our famous faces is Aventus Firestrike.
What a son! Look, Liz, we are 3 for 3 on cool ass names in this episode.
Who is a Stormcast. He's one of our oldest Stormcast, and he is the, like, Lord Protectorate of Hammerhal.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so he, like, attends council meetings. He is involved in the city politic. He, like, rides out to defend the city, but he's also making sure that infrastructure is being maintained and, like, the city is thriving in more than just the ways that it can, like, be
tactical warfare.
Yeah, exactly. That's, like, being a stable, because even the best defended walls in the world aren't going to be furthering this goal of, like, reclaiming the realms, creating safe places, if your buildings are falling apart, or if, like, crime is so high that no one wants to live there, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so we see that mixture of where storm keeps both exist to defend the city, but they can also really influence the culture of the city, just by virtue of what storm keeps tend to be host specific. It's not like, oh, a bunch of hosts are adding people to the Stormkeep and they're all intermingling. Like, Tempest, the city of Tempestai has a Stormkeep for the Tempest Lords, right? The city of Excelsius has a Stormkeep for the Knights Excelsior, right?
Yeah.
Like, that tends to follow, right? The Hammers of Sigmar have 6 different Stormkeeps in Hammerhal.
Of course.
Because it's a massive city and they just need multiple, like, Stormkeeps.
For sure.
Occasionally, a Stormkeep will also include a Storm Vault, which is a structure where, like, Storm Vaults are secret, generally.
Okay.
They are where Sigmar puts dangerous artifacts.
Oh, shit.
So you lock that in the basement of a Stormkeep so that...
It's just where the Ark of the Covenant goes.
Yep. So that anyone who wanted to use it would have to get through a whole city and then also a bunch of Stormcast.
That's probably a good place with them.
Yeah, right? It's almost the opposite of, like, oh, we're going to, like, hide it in a secret place far away. It's like, nope, we're going to hide it right in the middle of everybody.
Right here. Everyone knows where it's at. You really want it?
Yep.
That's not a bad plan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people being able to watch it pretty easily where they're already going to be, rather than having to dedicate extra resources to guarding the thing.
Yes. There's a very important storm vault in the city of Lethis, which is one of the ones we'll talk about next episode, which is located on Shaiish. It is the great knife in Nagash's back.
Good.
There's a very important storm keep on Lethis, where something very important is stored that we're going to talk about more probably in next episode when we talk about Lethis, but also very much when we do our episode on, after our cities one is probably going to be on the Osiarch Bone Reapers.
Whoa, Bone Reaper?
Bone Reapers.
Wow, so many good names.
Right? So
look at all these great proper nouns.
So we have our initial, like, founded cities, we have storm keeps, we have controlling the realm gates. Thank you. We have them controlling the realm gates, and we have the expansion. So where do we go from there?
Where would we would go creating social safety nets.
I mean, sometimes, yeah.
Hey!
It's a mix. It's a delicate balancing act, right? Where the big strategy, the ultimate strategy, right, with doing all this is that it's almost like digging trenches, where the effort that goes into, like, digging a trench in wartime is that's the thing that takes a lot of effort, but it makes you pretty safe, as at least compared to open field ground. And so by founding cities, the intent is to, like, really solidify these as places under Sigmar's control.
Nice.
Like, the difference it takes to, like, raise a little settlement to the ground, and then like, you've lost everything that you've achieved, and destroying a city like Hammerhal, it would take literal years of constant effort to destroy a city like Hammerhal, even if there wasn't anyone defending it. Like, it's just too big, right?
Yeah.
And so part of that is, like, creating a certain quality of life for people. That can get fuzzy, obviously. Like, it's hard to create a consistent standard, like, quality of living, especially in, like, a big city like this, especially during wartime. Like,
and all of the realms are constantly at war.
But yeah, it's kind of a twofold strategy of let's keep the city stable while also always trying to push the boundaries. We don't want to get surrounded either.
Yeah.
Right. From each of our proper cities, people will set out to found settlements. This could happen like independently. Like sometimes people just get like a company together with some defenders and stuff and be like, hey, there's a river running here and there's some valuable resources. We're going to go set up like a settlement. People can come join us. Like, we don't know if that's going to last. Maybe it'll just be a mining outpost. But if it does last, then the next step is that if a settlement can become self-sufficient, that's when it starts receiving like Azerian resources.
Yeah.
Basically. So once they've got their own houses, their own like buildings, they've built up some walls, they've managed to exist for a while, they've got their own like agriculture and stuff going on. They don't need like supplies being brought in. That's when maybe they get like a small party of Stormcast that just like live in the city for its defense. Maybe that's when they start getting engineers from the Ironweld arsenals to come out and build like defenses on the walls and stuff. And then once a city has been that stable for long enough, if it is of like strategic import and whatnot, that's when it has the potential to be elevated to a true city. Stormkeep is built, like council is elected, and it joins kind of the pantheon of existing cities in that realm as a new like point of defense, an outer perimeter now of like where Sigmar has control.
Okay.
That is not the fate of most settlements.
I was going to say, yeah, that feels like not typical.
No. If 100 like settlement forming parties leave Hammerhal every year, maybe one of them is becoming a city. Like, and not all of that is like violent, right? Sometimes they go out, they found a settlement that exists for a little while, and then it's destroyed by chaos or what have you. Sometimes you go out and you mine some resources, and then you realize this sucks, and you go back to Hammerhal, right?
Ghost towns.
Like, yeah, absolutely, exactly. And so for every like true proper city and everything in between, there's a bunch of one of my favorite Age of Sigmar books, Gloomspite, takes place in a town that's like kind of in the middle there, where it is largely self-sustaining, but it doesn't have a permanent like host of like Stormcast. It's probably like 80 miles from Hammerhal, and so it's like definitely within its sphere of influence, but it's like a point of conflict in the novel that once things start to go sideways, it's like we could send like a courier to Hammerhal for help, but they might just decide that like it's not worth committing the troops to like this defense. Like there might be more important stuff going on. And so, like I said, a lot of places exist in that limbo as well, where they're not failed settlements. They just aren't yet big enough to be cities.
Yeah.
And they might never be. Yeah. It's just not a important strategic point to commit the resources and stuff to. But,
yeah. Because like, as you said, like everything's still at war. It's sort of,
yes.
Decisions still have to be strategically.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like a cost benefit analysis does have to be made.
Yes. Yeah. You can't just anoint everywhere a city, because being a proper city of Sigmar is both like a resource commitment. It's like, okay, you're going to get a Stormkeep. You're going to have a permanent host of Stormcast. You're going to get resources from Azir. You're going to get like leadership from Azir coming to help make decisions and stuff. But also it's an element of morale, right? The strategic element of like, being able to tell people like, yeah, settlements are always a risk, like the frontier is always a risk, but cities are safe. Like nothing bad will happen to cities, nor have it. Like,
okay,
this is a like, there's definitely a guile to that, like optics almost.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to anoint everything a city, because then if cities start falling, it hurts the morale of the larger like movement. It gets described as the whole endeavor being one giant fortress. Each city is like a rivet in this wall of like safety that we're hoping each city is hoping to build around itself.
Yeah.
Right. Where hypothetically, ideally, there's a world where eventually there's just enough well-guarded, well-defended cities that the forces that survive on like creating conflict, causing literal like chaos, but also a, like in worship of chaos, like raiding and all that kind of thing, just can't find a foothold.
Yeah.
Like this will eventually be a like issue that just like starves itself out because we have built a good enough defense around ourselves, basically.
That seems like a solid strategy to me.
Yeah. It's also a very Sigmar strategy, right? It's
also very
literally it's literally the thing that
like structure, civilization working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also building up enough walls that you
we'd let you'd build all the walls around
yes,
yourself.
I was gonna say it's literally the thing that Gordrak says. And like it's not wrong. Like, it's a good strategy.
Yeah.
But we'll see, ways in which, like I said, Greywater Fastness is a good example of how it can, like, not quite fit the idea of what we're doing.
Yeah.
But so there's the smaller, we talked about, like, what does it look like when people like head out to form a settlement. The smaller settlement forming, like I said, that can happen. Like, we got 20 guys together and we're gonna go form like a mining town. Where, like, I heard about this like outcropping of emberstone, we're gonna go like do this. There's this like really fertile valley we found. We're just gonna set up a little like farming conclave there. Like, that can all happen in a very natural way. But the big, like, city directed, like, endorsement of like the state and of like Sigmar and Azir campaigns to like go out and found, like, with intention, like, found new cities, found settlements that will like be of strategic import, and that the intent is that they will eventually become cities. Those are collectively called Dawnbringer Crusades.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
Sorry, the pause was me remembering that in the extended lore of the book I'm writing, name the group of elite that go out and push back any incursion of the Dawn Guard.
No.
I was like, oh, she's so basic.
It's also the name of the vampire hunters in Skyrim. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like protecting the
it's
dawn.
Good.
Like,
exactly.
Making sure there's
it's
the
good.
next sunrise.
No, it's literally, that's, yes.
Never play them.
Oh, no.
They only play Kingdom Hearts and Hades.
Dawnbringer Crusades are the big ones. Like I said, if a bunch of different, like, probably settlement founding, like, companies are leaving Hammerhal in a given day, a Dawnbringer Crusade is an event. Like, it's sent off with parade and fanfare and throwing little, like, tassels and
the ticker tape.
Yeah, exactly. Like, giving them the parade as they head out, because this is the, like I said, even the people who aren't personally part of that, like, grand vision of, like, oh, this is, like, we're trying to build a bigger world, better world by, like, living in these cities and stuff, they recognize that, like, oh, this could mean, like, if they go out and they found the city and the city takes, then that could mean more safety. That means that there's a better, like, perimeter.
They benefit, even if they aren't part of the grand, like you said, the grand design, they benefit from it.
Yes.
And it sounds like people recognize that is a thing to be a part of.
Absolutely. Someone who joins a Dawnbringer Crusade is called the Donner. Yeah. Yeah.
No. Oh man, we just tripped over a not good name.
Yeah.
Oh man, we were totally on a whole roll and then just stumbled over Donner.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Donner companies.
Company, you said?
Yeah.
Donner Company?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
that's the descriptor word, not group expedition party.
Yeah.
Donner Company. Yeah, I mean, we picked that specifically.
And the a crusade is mostly made up of people who. You have some, like, career soldiers, but the nature of the cities being what they are, most Dawnbringer Crusades are going to be made up of, like, militia volunteers.
Yeah.
And you can tell a militia volunteer by the coin Malice.
They have a coin!
They have a coin. Taking the coin Malice is a solemn oath to join the next, like, crusade that leaves the walls.
Okay.
So it is, like, one part recruiting, like, tool and one part, like, sign of prestige. Having your coin on you notes you as, like, a person of courage. It is your, like, enlistment papers. It is telling people, even before you leave for that crusade, like, I am a person who is committed to this, like, grand design. And the powers that be are aware of that, like, social influence, right? They press that in, like, recruiting, right? Like, hey, we don't know when the next crusade's going to head out. Take the coin today and you can, like, show it at all your favorite establishments and be like, look at the big cool person I am.
Yeah.
And, like, all you got to do is join the next crusade, like, when it comes around.
It kind of becomes a lot harder to back out if everyone knows you're supposed to go on the next one.
Absolutely. Like I said, the coin is really fascinating. And listeners at home can't see because this is an audio format, but I'm holding my own, like, coin Malice that I got as a reward for doing the, like, painting competitions and stuff when 4th edition came out.
That's so cool.
I like it a lot. It's very cool. It's weighty, if you want to. Yeah, it's, like, really made of metal. Yeah. Oh.
It's so well designed.
Right. It's got the hammer of Sigmar on it.
On the side. And it's got, like, It's supposed to be a cog or like a sunburst?
It's a sunburst.
Yeah.
Because dawn. Yeah.
Yeah, this is super cool.
Right. Big fan. But yeah, so that's an element of it too, is like, oh, you've been going around, you've been showing your coin to get the perks, and so now the time for the crusade has come. If you're at the bar again next week, everyone's gonna know that you like chickened out.
Yeah.
You didn't go, and that's not just socially bad, that's a crime. Like,
that's a crime.
You took the coin, like you are signed up. For that reason, giving away or selling your coin is a capital offense, punishable by execution.
Oof.
Yeah, because again, it's both a benefit, it's a symbol of this like commitment you're making, but it's also like a mark. It's saying it marks you for going on the next crusade, right? Like you can't give that away. It's part of you now, right? It's an obligation. It's an oath that you've made. Hanged for treason if you give or sell your coin.
Really, we're doing hangings?
Yes.
We have magic. You could turn someone into a statue if you wanted to. It just feels kind of basic, but okay. I guess saving the resource.
I was going to say rope's cheap.
Rope's cheap.
You need a lot less. There are a lot more hangmen than wizards.
That's a fair point.
It's also, we don't hang people because it's the most effective way to kill somebody. We hang people because you do it in an open space where lots of people can see, right? Like that's also
cheap,
part of it.
Very little cleanup.
Yep. You tell people these people took the coin and they enjoyed the benefits, and then they didn't do their part when the time came. And this is what happens. Like, and so don't also do that.
Don't do that thing.
So who takes the coin? That's the...
Yeah, who's willing to sign up for this?
Yeah. So as with any recruiting effort, those who take the coin are like a proper mixed bag. Everyone from the bright-eyed young recruit type, right? The person who has fully bought the message, right?
Yeah.
And not even in like a grizzled, like they really actually understand the like price and they're willing to pay it, but the like...
Red badge of courage.
Yep. Sarge says we'll be home by Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Like that
like,
kind
they don't
of
know
person.
What this actually means.
Yep. Gonna go out and give Jimmy Chaos what for, right?
Jimmy Chaos what for?
Taking the coin and going on crusade is also basically like a clean bill, right? If you have debts in the city, when you leave on a crusade, they're void. If you are like out, if there's a warrant out from you, when you leave on a crusade, it's void.
Interesting. Okay.
So desperate debtors, like would-be criminals on the run, like once you join a crusade, that's your new life. Like your past is forgotten.
So, okay. Is it okay? How I'm trying to word this. Does the warrants or the debts become void as soon as you sign up, or only once you leave?
Once you leave.
Okay, so like,
yeah,
maybe you've got a lot of. They find out one's about to head out, and maybe everyone's running to like, let me in.
Yep, absolutely. That's the like I said, I like part of why I really like Cities of Sigmar, and the thing it has to do to fulfill the obligation of being the normal person faction is that it can't just be like good. It can't just be like wholesome.
Yeah,
people are complicated.
Yeah, it
right?
can't be monolith.
Yes, it's like I said, and that's spoken to in its like recruiting, because like absolutely the posters, the recruiters, the like propaganda of it is like, look at all these bright-eyed youths, look at all these people making the noble choice to go out and reclaim the realms, when in reality every Donner company is going to be made up of like bright-eyed youths and criminals and desperate debtors and people who have a personal like vendetta against chaos, who just want to go out and vent. Like it's the same kind of wide swath of people you're going to get with any volunteer military movement, right? People's reasons are their own, and that doesn't always make them like noble. Yeah, absolutely. A successful crusade means establishing a new settlement. And any Donner, the last thing that your coin malice entitles you to is once that settlement gets settled, your coin malice entitles you to like a swath of land in that new settlement.
That's a fair trade.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the big reward, right? Like that is such a classic, like telling someone who is maybe like the fourth child of an already poor family in a huge city who has always scraped to make ends meet. Hey, like pick up this sword, we'll hand you a shield, go out to the front, fight for like the city is a thing that you have already like know is like a noble cause in and of itself.
Yeah, like a worthwhile venture.
Absolutely. And at the end of that, you'll be landed, like you'll have property of your own.
That's a huge
like
deal.
that's huge. And that's a massive incentive for why, even in like a very hostile world where the people that like, because in like I said, in the real world, when you're recruiting for a military movement, it's like, yeah, you're fighting other people. Like everyone's basically on the same level, technology notwithstanding. In this, it's like you're trying to convince starving street urchins to go fight orcs.
Yeah,
and like
right?
that's a harder sell. Like,
yeah, that's a little bit more intense.
Yes. But like I said, the land, the prestige, like the fact that by making this choice, you could completely turn your fortune around. Like that's huge. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great incentive.
Well, it's like, I mean, the U.S. military does that. We'll pay for your college.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
I mean, it's the same reason. Yeah.
that's incredibly like life changing. Because I mean, maybe once, but like the idea of higher education opens doors, and you can get that. Actually, yeah, it still is. If you can get that without accruing thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of student loans. Yeah. And it's also maybe this is a little bit darker, but as you said, like your example was a street origin whose family was not like socioeconomically comfortable. Maybe there's a reason you have the biggest incentive the folks that have the least to begin with.
Correct.
And not going to offer things that would be incentive to those who have positions of power and authority already.
Correct. An interesting subset that I thought was fun that the book calls it out is that because a lot of people in cities, like some people were born in cities, but because a lot of people in cities are coming there from outside where they might have been living in like tribal enclaves or escaping like the clutches of chaos and whatnot, there's like a subset of people who sign up for Dawnbringer Crusades because they had like ancestral or like tribal lands that were like claimed by chaos. Yeah. Or like they were pushed off of by some incursion or whatnot. And they hope to use like the Dawnbringer Crusades as a like, okay, like our ancestral lands will be part of like a City of Sigmar, but at least I will be able to like take my claim.
Yeah, so I can take my family back there.
Yes, absolutely. That's
really interesting.
Right. Again, it's going to feed into what our next point is, which is this like big divide in like the Cities of Sigmar between like native people of the realms and the Azerian board.
Yeah.
Where like that's a very different incentive from someone who was like born in a city or even born on Azir who's taking the coin to go out and like get this brand new thing for themselves. The idea that, I'll help in the reclamation of the realms and bring this area under like Sigmar's influence to reclaim a thing that I have recently lost is very different incentive.
Yeah.
And it speaks to a little bit of, like I said, Cities of Sigmar are like a multicultural like melting pot.
Yeah.
And it speaks to that a little bit. That you can have people with different incentives, different ideas, and different priorities all working towards the same goal, which I like.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. So let's talk about that big divide.
Yeah.
Specifically, the Great Divide is what the book calls it.
Great Divide. Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
So it's a thing we've alluded to in the past. I'd like to bring it up in episodes because I think it's interesting. The residents of the cities of Sigmar tend to fall into these groups of like what are colloquially called like the realm born, people who are born not just like in the realm broadly, but like in the city, like who have that like history with the actual realm itself versus Azerians, right?
Yeah.
Like the blue-blooded kind of like almost nobility class. Like even if you aren't actually like of a noble class, even if you are like a poor Azerian who is coming from Azir to like help with this thing, the fact that you've lived a life like relatively free from harm, relatively
like you
free
did
from
not
threat.
Live under the threat of a chaos attack.
Yes.
There's a quote in One Piece that's like children who have lived in known peace have varied in war.
Yeah.
Like, I've just seen that posted up for One Piece, but I've seen it associated with the One Piece character.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like I said, the image of what it means to reclaim the realms means something very different when you are from the realms or when you are from like you're from Azir. Like for the Azerian born, it is this like philosophical thing. It is this like kind of grand design big thing. Whereas like I said, for a lot of people who were born on the realms, it's just trying to recapture a thing that they more recently lost.
Yeah, or maybe like grandma told you about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have grandparent watching their sibling or parents die. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
More real.
There's a lot of ways that this is expressed in like writing about things that happens in cities, like the fact that leadership councils in cities tend to be Azerian born, and not even as like a matter of...
You mentioned that earlier. We'll send people here to lead.
Yes, exactly. That's not even necessarily... You're not going to find a city where it's like, oh, it's the law that Azerian borns have to be on the leadership council. But you're going to find a lot of cities where it's like, well, nothing says that the whole leadership council has to be Azerian borns, but they do have the most experience with like leadership and like politicking and stuff because
it's
they
just,
were,
just makes more sense.
Yes, exactly. When we talk about like discrimination in the modern day, the highways or the roads in New York City being built too low for buses to get under, right? Like there's no like thing on the books you're going to find that's like, oh, people from like certain boroughs aren't allowed to go to public parks, but the facts can align in such a way to make that true. So de jure and de facto.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we see the tension in that way. We see the tension in like the exact thing that you brought up earlier, where the incentive structures are such that a lot of Dawnbringer Crusades are made up of mostly Realmborn, right? Like if you have an Azerian-born person on there, it's because they want to like make their mark upon this like new land.
They've probably like drank the propaganda a little bit.
Absolutely.
Like they're here for the grand like serving of Sigmar.
Yes, absolutely. And so
like you can't enlist to be a Stormcast, so they're doing this instead.
Yes, exactly. I think the most poignant place we're going to see this is with one of our famous faces, Talia Vedra, who's one of my favorite characters in Age of Sigmar. And she has really taken she's kind of become the face of like Realmborn like city folk. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about her and like Hammerhal overall, because she's the first marshal of Hammerhal.
Oh, cool.
But that is a story for later. I just want to bring special attention to it here because it is like, I want it to be a thought that you are like nursing throughout our discussion. Like when I talk about like things that people do in the cities, like which part of the cities,
even who gets to, probably.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And again, never from a place of like Sigmar would never be like, okay, only Azerians can do these things. But even if it's not explicit, what is the implication?
Yeah,
what is the actual thing that is happening? But so let's talk about the people who live in those cities, Realmborn and Azerian.
Ooh, yes.
The first thing, big thing, the thing that this has the potential to age poorly on like a game and like lore perspective, but I'm gonna be real mad if it does, because this is like the important thing for cities in my mind, narratively.
Okay.
James Workshop, I know you're listening. I hope that'd be cool if you're listening. I don't think anyone from Games Workshop listens to our podcast. Well, someone.
Did you
statistically
call them James Workshop?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's they have a fake CEO named James Workshop.
Oh, I love that.
It shows up in promotional stuff sometimes.
That makes me happy. I wasn't sure if it was just like a bit. I was like, oh, good. It is a bit, but it's a bit we're all a part of.
Yes.
I like that.
The quote unquote like founder and CEO of Games Workshop, James Workshop.
James Workshop. Blow this for us, Jamie.
Right. The thing about cities is that Sigmar has learned his lesson. The Empire of Man was man. It was just humans. They would hang out with dwarves sometimes, but they weren't like all living together. Cities of Sigmar are like multicultural. They're multi-species.
Yeah.
You have humans, elves, orcs, like everybody living in the same space. And the thing that has happened recently in the game side of it, that I hope is a momentary like lapse in judgment, James Workshop, is that as like, so actually this is probably a good time to talk about like a little bit of the game history of Cities of Sigmar.
Okay.
So the Cities of Sigmar have existed from very early on in like the lore as like a concept and whatnot. And that's where we get the like multiculturalism aspect of it. But from a product side, in the same way that like when we talked about Stormcast, like Stormcast are Age of Sigmar's equivalent of Space Marines in a product capacity, even though their narrative is completely different.
Yeah.
The reason cities happened from a product level is that originally Cities of Sigmar was what you did with all of your old Warhammer fantasy models.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So if you had old world Empire handgunners and dark elf dark shards and Dwarven Kingdom longbeards and Hellfire rocket batteries, and just all of these old, like vaguely order aligned old world miniatures. Then the Cities of Sigmar book was one you could buy, and it would give you rules for making this army out of like this just kind of grab bag of old world models.
So from the jump, it's been a collection of
Yes.
various different
Yes.
races.
Yes. And like I said, that originated as a product thing.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want to make we don't want to just like shelve all these models right away.
Yeah, it would be a rough pill to swallow. We've already shut down the game you all like.
Yep. And we don't want to make a bunch of different rule books for like a handful of models that have survived from each of these like different factions. So we are going to like create this narrative basically of these like multicultural cities, and that's going to play really well into the theme that we're establishing of like we have to work together to fix it, because not working together is what like failed us the last time.
Yeah.
And those two things are going to like exist in sync, and it's going to be a cool idea.
So how are folks messing with it now? Why is things not being so chill anymore?
So in 3rd edition, Cities of Sigmar got like a big refurbishment. They said, hey, like we are going to retire some very old kits, and we are going to bring out new kits with just like better detail and more in line with like Age of Sigmar's aesthetic and whatnot. And when that happened, all of the new kits were humans.
That's such a big oversight.
It's such a big oversight.
Deeply troubling.
That's what I'm worried about. Is it a big oversight, or is it a new direction?
Purpose?
Yeah. Because that's the thing that we're worried about right now.
Yeah.
Is Cities of Sigmar going to become, because I like that it's the normal person faction, but you can have a dwarf that's a normal person.
Yeah, normal person doesn't mean human here. It just means you're not out fighting or like...
You just have like a life. And so that's what we are currently worried about with Cities of Sigmar, is the... Troubling. Instinct to make it like a human-centric faction. And I hope that doesn't happen, Jamie, or
I'll be very disappointed in you.
Even if it has to happen in stages where they're like, okay, we're doing like our human releases and then we'll follow up with like dwarf and elf releases later, like fine, but
no, not like, fine, just do it all
come
together.
On. Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like the ideal thing is that you would have your like units, your like troop, like the base infantry for Cities of Sigmar called steel helms.
Yeah,
you would just have the average steel helm kit would have like 2 dwarves and an elf in it, right? It wouldn't just be an all human unit. Yeah. But
that is troubling,
right? So that's the big unfortunate like axe that has to hang over this whole discussion, is that Cities of Sigmar are really cool, and also Games Workshop is pointing a gun directly at them.
Oh, no.
And it's like, you can't, man. Like, they're the cooperation faction. They're the like showing that the new world is different and better. Like, ugh.
Do we forget, or just like, is it? I mean, narratively, if you wanted to have like a backslide, fine, but do it on purpose, not like lazy by accident.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing. Also, before anyone gets at me, there is one exception, but it's not like... There's a model called Fusel Majoron Ogre Warhulk. It's a very funny model because it's a guy with a sniper rifle in a like crow's nest box that is mounted on the shoulders of an ogre.
Okay.
So that is the one non-human in the release.
Okay.
But it's not like just barely, because that ogre is not his own unit. He's the ride for a guy.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Okay.
But just for clarity, okay, there was one non-human in the release. You got me.
Okay. Yeah, it's still weird though.
Still weird.
Still worth being a little bit on the guard about it. Do you know, is there like a timeline for like when more is supposed to come out, or you just have to like wait, or?
The rumors are that we are going to see previews for more city stuff at Adepticon this year, which is in like a couple of weeks from the time of recording.
Oh.
So we will see what happens with that. The consistent rumor is... something we've heard inklings of in lore and stuff called a cog fort, which is where you just build a huge tank that doubles as a fort. That we might get that as a model.
Okay.
So that'd be neat, but we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
But so as of right now, the lore and the good lore is that these are multicultural. Like
Cool.
humans, elves, dwarves, ogres, to a lesser extent, like orcs sometimes. You get sentient undead occasionally.
Oh.
But usually the people, like the groups that you are most consistently seeing have like larger structural reasons for why you are consistently seeing them. So like the biggest dwarven group that tends to congeal in like Cities of Sigmar are called the Dispossessed. Those are dwarves who do not feel a strong alignment with any of the existing like dwarven gods. They do not want to join like the Caradron fleets or the Fire Slayers. So they feel that they have been, and like Grungni is off helping Sigmar, and so they feel they have been disinherited by their like divinity, and so they are the Dispossessed, and they are going to like join the cities to help other people because they no longer feel that they have like a place for themselves in the world outside of this like collaborative thing.
Okay.
One of the big elven groups is the Darkling Covens. These are people who either like worship Cain but do not trust Marathi.
Fair.
Yep.
Honestly, like y'all are all wrong, but also you're actually totally correct. I just disagree with you.
Or they are like spiritual in ways that would conflict with like the existing like elven like structures. And so like the Darkling Covens tend to do harsher, sometimes like blood magic and stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, again, not in a way that like Marathi has a pretty iron grip over like the Cainite cults.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to be part of like the Cainite temples and stuff. They want to do their own thing, and they wouldn't fit in with the Lumineth. And so instead they join like the cities.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The Corsairs, which are the unofficial fleet of the Cities of Sigmar, Dark Elves following in a... This is such a weird one because it's entirely because Dark Elves in the old world had like a whole wing of like naval like style miniatures and stuff.
Okay.
And so the Corsairs are just that. There's a bunch of elves who have like a naval tradition.
Cool, man.
Yeah, right. Like
yeah, that's what you want to do.
Founded the city of Misthaven, which is entirely built out of pirate vessels lashed together.
Cool.
Yeah, right. But so it like I said, it ties into our theme of like these are people who do not have somewhere else to go, who are joining the collective because of that. They're doing the cooperation thing because the cities offer safety in the same way that they're offering safety to like the humans of the realm, right? Like I said, this is our theme, right? This is our big Age of Sigmar theme, is that people have to work together for things to work out.
Yeah.
It's what failed the old world. It's what caused like the Age of Chaos was the band breaking up. And so that's why it's important that Cities of Sigmar stay like multi-species.
Yeah.
James.
Jamothy?
And then to come back from that on a lighter note, this is the part in my notes where I mentioned gargoylians.
What's a gargoylian?
They're the best. So this happened following Alariel's Rite of Life. That is the response to the Necroquake. So Nagash inverted Shaiish did the like blah and made magic go crazy. The resolution to that was Alariel did the Rite of Life, which spread like life magic out into the realms.
Oh, good. Sounds like it was much needed at the time.
It was much needed. It did wake up Kragnos. Whoops. But one of the other things that it did was like life flowed into so many different things that it has even like picked up on stuff that probably should have never like been given life. We just like get kind of latent expressions of life or like wild expressions of life. And gargoylians are like lesser life elementals that are a expression of like the Cities of Sigmar.
Do you have a picture?
I have multiple pictures because they don't have like a unified appearance. They just seemingly come into existence and then seek out like Dawnbringer Crusades specifically because they're like elemental representations of the desire to like found new cities and like spread and grow and stuff. And so they're little sentient.
They're little?
They're very little. Little sentient living manuscript illustrations.
Gimme! It's like someone doesn't know how to draw a snail.
They're, like I said, if you've ever seen like old monastic manuscripts and stuff like that, they're just the little guys that monks would doodle in the corners of like...
I'm crying!
They're so good!
I love them so much.
Like they don't make any sense because they just come fully formed from like the idea of like civilization, right?
What is this Spinosaurus platypus with his tongue out. No.
I have a particular love of the little night snails. Like
yes.
that's a.
Do you have any of these?
No, they're all
not
on.
in the house.
No, they're all on Cities models. I don't have any.
I understand. They're so cute.
They're
I
so
love
cute. I'm a huge fan.
If we get a P.O. box, will someone mail me one from my desk?
Just a single gargoylian. They're so small. They're itty bitty.
I know, because you can see they're next to other models, right?
Yeah.
'Cause you can see like a dude's ankle.
I was gonna say like that's a guy's ankle. That's a normal sized person's ankle. Yeah.
Small. They're smaller than my cat, who is a tiny little baby.
Like I said, they just like they're not dangerous. They don't do anything. They're just these like silly little
just
mascots.
decorative?
Yeah, they're
They're just decorative.
like both in game and in universe. They're just like the silly little mascots that like show up and follow like Dawnbringer Crusades
Because
around.
they just believe in the mission.
Yeah.
What?
They're drawn to it. Like I said, they're an expression of like life magic, giving like animus to the idea of like the Dawnbringer Crusades. Like,
Why?
yeah. It's so good. I'm a huge fan.
Who did this?
It's just consequential.
No. Like,
Oh.
sorry. I understand in lore
Yes.
how it happened. In the workshop
A
was like,
genius.
but what?
The best person to
Fucking
ever.
a groundbreaker.
Someone in a meeting said, "What if we had little living manuscript illustrations to follow our like normal person faction around?" And that person, I hope, is in charge of the company now because they're
James
right.
Workshop.
They're 100% correct. Like, I love gargoyles.
They're so good.
They're so good.
They're so good. I can't. Oh, worth it. Me getting to learn it. Still have a grade 10 on the 10.
Right. Gargoylians. I had to mention
Thank you
gargoylians
so
because
much
they're
for
incredible and I
teaching me
love
about
them.
the gargoylian.
I love them. I love the idea that you're marching your like hopeful like crusade of people to go out and like found this new city, and you just get joined by a fish with legs. Like
Yeah, and
just wanders out of the underbrush.
And okay, here's a question. Does everybody know
Yes.
about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They are common and like frequent enough at this point that everyone is aware that they just like show up.
They kind of show up. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That was my other. So no one's surprised when like the unicorn snake shows up.
No.
Okay.
Like they might be surprised by the specific like form because again there's no like rhyme or reason. They don't like reproduce in the traditional way. They just come into existence. Yeah. And so they might be like, "Oh, that's a new one. Like that's different."
Yeah.
But they know what they are when they show up. Like,
What do they? Okay, so they hang around after the company like founds a place and everything. They just chill out.
They just hang out.
So you could be in a city and these guys are just around.
Yeah. Like I said, Talia doesn't leave Hammerhow basically ever. But yeah, she has just because she's the first marshal. Like she is such a powerful symbol of like civilization and like its presence and stuff that she just kind of attracts gargoylians.
Yes.
Which again, she's a little bit of like a severe like pragmatist type, so she's a little bit like
yeah,
there's just these snails following me, which is incredible.
That's so won't leave me alone.
It's so good.
What do they do? Like I understand they don't do anything, but like they just hang around. Do they need to sleep? Do they need a little snack? Like, do they make noise?
Do they make noise? They just like hang around. They're kind of like pets. I know that they'll like, they don't sing, but they'll like growl along to like company marching songs and stuff.
Cute.
Like I said, they're just like mascots. They're like.
If you've ever been in an anime con and heard some furries walking by and they make that squeaking, I was definitely picturing a squeaking sound.
They are just like emergent mascots.
Great.
Which is so fun.
I love it. I love them so much. Thank you so much for sharing this with me.
They're so good. I know that they can like get big enough that I don't know what the circumstances for this, but there's like one model that has like a big gargoylian on it, and that one does fight. But that's like rare. Like I don't know why that happens.
It's like Clifford the big red dog.
Yeah,
so the person they hung with just loved them so much.
Yeah.
They're massive. Oh my god, it's so good.
He got a little curvy tail, and yeah, that one's part of the command core.
Cool.
model or unit. Just silly little guys. I'm a big fan.
I love us, and I love a silly little guy.
So the last thing we're going to talk about for this episode is our like kind of big, like I said, talking about the whole of the picture is like how the like military of cities looks, because this is the part that like relates to the game, right? Like if you've heard what we've talked about so far and you're like, damn, that sounds cool, like, and you were looking to start a Age of Sigmar like army about Cities of Sigmar, what would that look like, right? And again, with the broad disclaimer of like, we don't know what James is doing, so I'm gonna talk about like currently how it exists, but maybe we'll find out soon that like, hey, dwarves aren't gonna be around for a little bit. Like that would suck.
We'll see.
But we'll see. So let's start with humans. They're the most populous like models in the military, and they're also just the most populous in the military in like lore as well. Mostly because humans are the ones who mainly do the like militia thing. Okay. Like you'll get dwarves and elves in the militia, but they usually have their own reasons for being part of cities, and so they have their own like approaches to stuff as well. So when we talk about people taking the coin, that's usually humans. Okay. So broadly, this is like she haunts the narrative of this episode, because like a lot of what I'm going to talk about with like human military style aren't like emergent. They are a thing that were originally implemented by Talia. The reason Talia is important is partially because she modernized the like Hammerhal military, and other cities followed suit. So we do have a really interesting thing narratively with the move from like the old world models that used to be like the staple of cities to the new like more standardized models. That is the thing that happened in narrative. So in the past, right, like if you had a Cities of Sigmar army, it's like, okay, we have your handgunners, you have your great swordsmen and stuff, and they are going to have different like appearances from each other and whatnot. And narratively that was represented by like, okay, when you're called to the militia of a city, you grab the sword off your mantle and go to the front. Yeah. Like you bring your own equipment, you bring your own uniform. There's no like standardized thing. You stitch the colors of the city to your like uniform so we know what side you're on. But otherwise it's very much like a citizen's militia. It's very like free form, just everybody kind of getting together to do the thing. Talia standardized the military. She popularized tactics that are easy to drill, easy to like teach to a wide group of people quickly. Good. And that's why we see the like shift to like, we no longer have 3 different kinds of like ranged infantry for whatever gun you had at home. We just have fusiliers who use admittedly like kind of low tech firearms, but firearms that you can make really fast. We don't have like all these different kinds of like military and for like melee infantry. We have steel helms, which is just, we have handed you a shield and a melee weapon. And importantly, a steel helmet, because that's that's the bit. You're a steel helm now. Go get him.
Just go get him, kid.
Yep. And so humans drill on, like I said, easy to learn group tactics. Your very basic like flanking maneuvers with the added benefit of like humans lean the most into like expressing worship of Sigmar on the battlefield as well. And so like steel helms are your rank and file infantry, right? But each steel helm unit also carries a reliquary box that they can use to like sanctify a location. Like they can plant it and like give themselves some momentary like benefit, like defense, by spreading that like holy energy in an area around them, right? Also, for those of our listeners who aren't Catholic, our reliquary box is part of a dead like holy person. Yep. All the steel helms models have like a little tiny box, and there's just like a mummified hand in it that they're like carrying out onto the battlefield.
Wait, in the context of whose hand is that?
Saints of Sigmar.
Saints of Sigmar. Okay, I didn't know Sigmar had saints.
Yep. Okay. He's very Catholic.
Representation.
Yep. For you, it's like you'll occasionally get like flagellants in the armies of Sigmar. Yep.
Very Catholic coded.
Yes. Though it's worth noting that Sigmar doesn't himself personally. There's a really interesting thing we see with the faith of like cities, where that same dispersion of like culture happens with the cities as well, where collectively worship of Sigmar are called the cults Unbergoten. Unbergoten is Sigmar's mortal name.
Thank you.
And they're called the cults Unbergoten because they have vast and very different like belief systems. And while Sigmar does have like his personal lessons, things that he will like say and express and are like the genuine, honest to God word of God.
Yeah.
He's also unwilling to like suppress most like expressions of faith.
Mm-hmm.
In his mind, it is more important that people are like with the program than that they are doing it like perfectly right. Right.
Okay, yeah.
And so like Sigmar doesn't necessarily endorse like flagellation, but he recognizes that some people
like
think that
if that's what you want to do,
absolutely.
Listen, as long as no one's forcing you to do that, that's what you want to do as an adult. You're gonna make that choice, okay?
That also unfortunately extends into some like a little bit like more stuff.
Oh no!
Where like another big thing is like Sigmar emphasizes the importance of redemption.
Okay.
Like he's all for like if you worship chaos in the past, you can like come to the cities and be chill. Like that is not a thing that necessarily defines you. We have stuff like Tornus the Redeemed, the Stormcast who was a chaos warrior before he was like returned. Neve who was a chaos warrior before she was like turned to Stormcast. That is like a big thing for Sigmar is redemption. But we have like very zealous, very like kind of like purge the unbeliever types in the cults.
Hey, Sigmar, I do think you need to come about that shit.
Right, and he doesn't.
Well, he hasn't come out since he lost his hammer.
Also true. But yeah, so that's kind of the two sides of that coin of like Sigmar being like, it's more important that everyone's just like in the same
committing
like on the same program, on the same like side of this. We'll hash out the dogma later. Like
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which makes him an interesting parallel in this instance with Nagash, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, probably not in these episodes.
Okay.
We'll probably talk about it in the OC episodes after these, but because Nagash gets worshipped on Shaiish in a bunch of different aspects, and he doesn't seem to particularly care what the like religious dogma is around himself. It's more important to Nagash that you are worshiping Nagash rather than how you are worshiping Nagash.
But that tracks for Nagash.
Absolutely. Like I said, I think it also speaks to Sigmar being like gun shy. Like we've talked about how he's very, like I say, he hasn't come out of his ear since the Battle of Burning Skies, since he sees him like fucking up and like dooming the world a second time. I think there's probably an element of Sigmar also that's like, well, who am I to say what the right like way of going about this is?
I mean,
like
you are God.
I don't trust myself anymore.
Oh no!
Yeah. So that's largely the like human thing. Like I said, Talia largely spearheaded this revolution of like everyone gets the same equipment, everyone gets the same like training. We can turn, like I said, street urchins and anybody else who needs this into like a cohesive fighting force where every person, it speaks back to our core theme, where every person is a part of a larger whole. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts because everyone is like on the same page for what our tactics are, what our training is. You know what the person next to you is going to do because you were in training with them.
Okay, yeah.
Right. There's more specialized equipment that gets, so like any military force, like you do have people who will specialize into certain stuff. Wizards will join like the human forces, the collegiate arcane. We talked about this in the previous episode. The grand human tradition is they invented college. And so you'll get wizards from the collegiate arcane that join military forces with their specific. Humans generally only learn one lore of magic. So you'll get bright wizards who have a mastery over fire, or gold wizards who have a mastery over metal. Some cities wizards actually learn like a city specific tradition of magic around like physical implements. I can't remember what they're called, but the like steel forger like wizards who are metal wizards, but they use that to like superheat their own people's like weapons or enemy armor.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's neat. This is another place where we can see an expression of the Great Divide in our like military forces. Steel helms, fusiliers, anyone who's like rank and file on the line tend to be realm-born, but your marshals, your command corps, tend to be more Azir-born because they've been to the military colleges. They know the larger strategy. That was more of a thing in the time before Talia's reforms because Talia is realm-born and she's the first marshal. And part of what her reforms allows like the cities to do is that you don't need commanders who are like on the very tippy top of like military college like tactics training, as long as they are also receiving the training that all the like steel helms and fusiliers are getting.
Yeah.
less of a you need to be extremely skilled in like military science and more of a you just have to have the same like playbook that everyone has.
Sure.
And that's allowed cities broadly to have like larger military forces where you aren't relying on these like rarer kind of like Assyrian born like military college types. So that's kind of the bit with, and there's a couple of exceptions to that. Like I said, we have like the ogre war Hulk, where you have like a guy in a box on top of an ogre's shoulders with a sniper rifle as part of like technically the human like side of it. Collaboration between humans and the Ironweld arsenals, which are run by dwarves. You have bombards, which are these big like mortar cannons. That's one of my favorite models for communicating the like theme of Cities of Sigmar, because it's this big cannon model with like a shield built into the front of it, and there's one guy in the back who's like working on loading a new shell into it, and there's a guy standing next to him who's drinking a beer because you're on the artillery line, like the enemy's not getting to you. Like have a brewski, make sure you're
stay hydrated.
Yep. That's a joke. Don't drink beer if you're dehydrated.
No.
Sorry, the ghost of Boy Scouts past have it in me real quick.
No, if you're dehydrated, drink some goddamn water.
Yes. Alcohol dehydrates. So don't. If you're stuck in the desert, don't drink your beer.
No. Save that.
Last couple, there's just less info on them, but I want to touch upon them briefly, and then that'll be this episode. I'm glad we did 3. Elves in Cities of Sigmar. Like I said, we tend to see like the Darkling Covens, the Corsairs, the Order Serpentis is the other like big one. They tend to, like I said, they tend to live in cities more because they don't, and this is going to be the case, and this isn't always the case, or I guess it's more to say these groups are in cities because they're not vibing with the rest of their like species.
Okay.
But these do not wholly represent like elves and dwarves in cities.
Interesting.
If that makes sense. Like there are elves who are hypothetically part of like the Steelhelm Corps. There are elves who are doing like your everyday normal stuff. These are just like highlighted groups because they are like elf or dwarf specific.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we already touched a little bit upon it. Order Serpentis and the Darkling Covens are both like Cainite or like older elven god worshippers who do not vibe with Marathi and would not fit in with the Lumineth, and so have found a refuge in Cities of Sigmar to practice their like stuff, as long as they don't like fuck with stuff, basically, right? Like you could worship the god of murder, just like do it on your own time.
Just do it on your own time.
The Order Serpentis are cool because they ride dinosaurs.
Hey!
Which is entirely a holdover from the old world, but I'm not going to kick them out of bed for it because riding dinosaurs is cool. But yeah, Darkling Covens, you got your like witch elves and your sorceresses and dragons. They ride like old school Warhammer dragons that are the long spindly ones, which again is an old model holdover, but I still like it. And then Corsairs we talked about as well. They're just the city's navy, basically, right? Which is like entirely made up of dark elves. They ride black arcs, which is an old world thing that we've just fully carried over, which are these big like floating fortresses. Mostly just doing pirate stuff.
Cool.
And then the Phoenician. The Phoenician, we'll talk about it more in the specific, but that is like a high elven, like we do magic, but we're not Lumineth, and we're like study and sorcery and stuff. The Phoenician carved its like city into the amber of like Gairan. And the reason I keep talking about it in past tense is because the Phoenician was destroyed.
Oh shit.
We talked about this previously because they had a god beast there that they like collaborated with the Phoenix, the twins of the Lumineth.
Yeah.
Lumineth twins saved the embers of the Phoenix from the Phoenician when it was destroyed. It was destroyed by the one lady, Abraxia, Archeon's second in command, right? Because she wanted to use the flames she got the flesh eater court like curse in her head. She wanted to use the flames to purge herself of that.
Did it work?
Mostly.
Okay, mostly.
Yeah. So the Phoenician was destroyed, but it was a thing for a long time. And so it bears mentioning. It was basically just old high elf stuff. Again, so many of these are carrying on the tradition of like these are the models that are available. So if you had an old school high elven army in the old world, you could bring those over and play them as a Phoenician army.
Yeah.
And then finally, dwarves, the biggest group of the dispossessed. Like I said, these are your dwarves who do not feel they're represented by Grungni or Grimnir, and certainly not like Hashut, right? And so they are in the cities because they want to collaborate, they want to apply their skills, and this is like a safe place for them to do that. They continue largely like dwarven military traditions, the like hard, like exterior, like heavy armor, shield lines, and that kind of stuff. They largely operate of their own kind of like older, like dwarven military traditions. Specifically, the dispossessed are coming from the like fall of the Khazalid Empire, right? In the same way that like the Chaos Dwarves are like, oh, we're the true like continuators of the Khazalids. The dispossessed are like, no, Khazalid's gone, and we are throwing our lot in with like Sigmar and his ilk, right?
Yeah.
The other half of that, and this is technically like a dwarf and human like collaboration, is the Ironweld Arsenal.
Yeah.
Ironweld Arsenal is where we get all of those, like that they're building those cannons, they're building steam tanks, which is an old world thing, but we have them here too. They're building all the like mechanical contrivists that are being used by the cities.
Nice.
Ironweld Arsenal doesn't often like take the field, but they're supplying all of our like, mechanical artifice.
That makes sense.
But that is the like big picture of Cities of Sigmar. Like I said, our next 2 episodes, we're going to talk about a bunch of the great like cities and like their own histories and stuff. And the episode after that, we're going to talk about our famous faces. But leaving off this episode, I just kind of want to emphasize the thing that's cool about Age of Sigmar broadly, right, is that it manages to portray a world that feels very complex and very like morally complex without defaulting to the like, oh, everyone's shit and bad and you should feel bad. Right? Like cities aren't perfect places. Like bad stuff happens, crime happens, like people join the Crusades not because they have like a noble goal, but because they want like for self-beneficial reasons. And yet all of that is still acting on this like grand curve of making things better. Right? It portrays a world in which the sum total of people being imperfect and being like shitty sometimes and being people still curves towards good. And I think that's a really valuable thing to portray in fiction, like that, showing that you can make something dark and you can make something realistic and you can make something complicated and it doesn't have to like sum total to it being
hopeless.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I think they've really done a great job of that with like Cities of Sigmar specifically. And we're going to get to talk about that more with our like individual cities and stuff.
Nice.
So I think each takes that in a different direction and really like runs with it. So,
I'm excited. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great time. But until then, my voice is given out.
Oh,
so
yeah, the episode's over.
The episode's over.
I should have made you some tea. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. I have been your Marshall Dalton Montgomery.
And I'm Darian Smart, and I would have invited you all penguin sledding, but we got literally this year.
Tragic. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.